Coming at you from Bellingham, Washington. This is Two Nuts in the Sack. I'm Julie.
And I'm Gavin. Boy, did we have fun talking about the paranormal. If you missed any of the episodes, you can check them out on YouTube or on Facebook. Paranormal was pretty scary. In fact, we scared the crap out of each other quite a few times, including that time where we had a very long pause because we heard something squeaking outside of the window. That was just terrible. But tonight, we're going to delve into something a little scarier. Something that has swept the nation and the world into a frenzy. Very scary and very real. We are going to talk about the coronavirus.
Dun dun dun.
The virus is scientifically known as SARS-CoV-2, which is sudden acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, or COVID-19, just to make it simple. At present, it is responsible for over 3,600 deaths and has affected more than 100,000 people the world around. What caused it? Where did it come from? What can we do to keep ourselves safe from this pandemic we seem to have found ourselves in? Is it as dangerous as the media paints it? Or is it possible that this is all just mass hysteria? People reacting to a constant barrage of social media posts and, as much as it pains me to say it, fake news stories.
The novel coronavirus, designated as 2019 nCoV, first appeared in Wuhan, China in late December 2019. Coronavirus is an enveloped positive sense RNA virus, which is characterized by club-like spikes projecting from its surface. That sounds freaky.
It certainly does.
Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus are zoonotic pathogens that can cause severe respiratory disease in humans. This new virus was first discovered in 2019 when viral, help me out, Gavin, metagenomics was carried out on 3 bronchiolair. Help me out.
All right, I'll be your Google Translate.
Thank you.
Bronchioalveolar lavage
specimens from Chinese adult patients with unexplained severe pneumonia. One patient, a frequent visitor to the seafood wholesale market, died currently. There is only one complete 2019 nCoV genome. The SARS-CoV-1 of 2003 was the closest relative to 2019 nCoV.
Right. There are many different coronaviruses out there.
Sharing 88% nucleotide similarity. In addition, 2019 nCoV is the new member of the genus Beta coronavirus. I can talk, I swear.
So it's a beta coronavirus.
Yes. The mechanism of 2019 nCoV transmission remains unknown. Given its close similarity to SARS-CoV-1, its origins have been traced back to the Hunan seafood wholesale market in Wuhan, China.
Wuhan
Shmuhan. As a primary reservoir has been suggested but not yet confirmed. At this time, diagnostic testing for 2019 nCoV can be conducted only by the CDC.
Right, but they're working on that, and I hear that sometime this coming week
they're going to have home test kits.
Exactly.
Because 2019 nCoV is a newly discovered virus, the spectrum of the available diagnostic tools is tight. A recent study reported that the Respifinder Smart 22 kit failed to identify 2019 in COV in the, help me out again, bronchial blah blah
bronchioalveolar lavage
specimens collected from 2019 in COV infected patients in Wuhan, China.
So let's take a step back. Let's do what the virus is. A virus is a small living organism that reproduces itself within living cells by basically hijacking the cell's own means of reproducing DNA. A living thing with no way of reproducing on its own, it embeds itself into the genome and then uses the cell's own replication to replicate itself. Now, the cell's area is finite. Like if you think of the cell as a balloon, there's only a finite area in which you can store all of the stuff within the cell, including genetic material like DNA. So as the virus encodes itself into the DNA, it starts replicating itself at an alarming rate. As it continues to replicate, it fills up all the space of the cell until the cell, much like a balloon, pops. And then viral DNA is released from that popped cell, and it seeks out other cells to begin the process again. For the most part, viruses stay within a species. Cat viruses affect cats. Plant viruses affect plants, usually within the same plant family. This is referred to as a host range. And this is also where COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, gets a little scarier. The virus has a broad host range, which means that this particular virus can exist and propagate over a wide range of hosts. Bats, snakes, pangolins.
Pangolins? What's a pangolin? Is it a penguin?
No, it's a pangolin. It's a small, scaly, armadillo-like creature that's indigenous to the area around Wuhan. Also a delicacy. But
sounds delicious.
Aside from our bats, snakes, and pangolins, COVID-19 is also compatible with humans. Herein lies our concern, and why the Chinese government closed the Hunan market, where patrons could acquire meats from the bats, the snakes, and the pangolins. Those cute little adorable creatures. Breaks my heart. But that makes the Hunan market the supposed center of the disease vector, basically where the virus first called home. Now, aside from the question of why anyone outside of Ozzy Osbourne would eat a bat, why are bats under the microscope, so to speak, when it comes to COVID-19?
There's something special about bats' immunity that makes them ideal viral incubators. According to new research, bats may be the ultimate incubator courtesy of a fiercely effective and robust immune system that seems to, in effect, train up viral strains, encouraging them to adapt and evolve into becoming as fit and infectious as they possibly can.
Well, that just explains Batman. I mean, he gets constantly beaten up by the rogues gallery, but he's back in the game the next day because he's supercharged.
It's an unfortunate side effect of what is otherwise an awesome survival mechanism. When viruses manage to leap from bats to other sorts of animals, including humans, The recipient's immune responses are equipped to counter these attuned, efficient, and highly transmittable pathogens. The bottom line is that bats are potentially special when it comes to hosting viruses, said disease ecologist Mike Boots from UC Berkeley.
He's like the Dora the Explorer.
Ha ha ha.
Mike Boots.
In a new study, Boots and fellow researchers investigated shut up virus and infectivity on bat cell lines, including cultures from the Egyptian fruit bat and the Australian black flying fox. Cells called vero cells from a monkey, the African green monkey, were also used as control, but these monkey cells were at a definitive disadvantage.
So Boots tested on monkeys, betraying his own
yes,
kind.
Yes, Gavin. Yes, poor Boots. One of the molecular mechanisms in bats' immune systems is the lightning-fast production of a signaling molecule called interferon alpha, which is triggered in the response of virus when interferon proteins are secreted by virus-infected cells. Nearby cells go into a defensive antiviral state.
So it's basically like an interferon within the cell is kind of like your house alarm. So when the interferon is triggered, it causes all the surrounding cells to go into like a lockdown mode, so that the virus can't continue to propagate properly.
Right. The African green monkey cell line does not possess such advantages. The bat cells, on the other hand, resisted the viral onslaught thanks to the rapid interferon signaling.
Again, Batman beats the Gorilla King.
While the signaling system prevents cells from dying, the infection nonetheless holds on and the virus starts to adapt to the defense regimen, at least according to computer simulations. This suggests that having a really robust interferon system would help these viruses persist within the host, says biologist Kara Brook.
Kara's pretty close to Dora.
Oh, shut up. When you have higher immune response, you get these cells that are protected from infection. So the virus can actually ramp up its suppletion rate without causing damage to its host. But when it spills over into something like a human, we could experience a lot of pathology.
So basically, the bat's immune system is like a gym for viruses, helping them get swole so that they can jump species. And it just like this just reminds me of like dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
It's important. Oh, go ahead. Are you still talking?
So in this case, yes, I'm still talking. In this case, the bat's immune system is like the wrench, and our immune system is like the ball.
Right.
One is far easier than the other.
It's important to note that humans have interferon alpha.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yes. Even when bats are infected with pathogens that can kill humans, they don't demonstrate obvious disease symptoms. Instead, carry viruses as long-term persistent infections. That persistence, the researchers say, seems to be encouraged by interferon. Critically, we found that bat cell lines demonstrated a signature of enhanced interferon-mediated immune response, which allowed for establishment of rapid within-host cell-to-cell virus transmission rates. The authors explain in their study. Sorry, that was a little jumbled.
Right. So, hold on there, Professor. So, again, let's bring it back a little bit. So basically what you're saying is that the bats have the interferon and this advanced interferon matrix that basically keeps the bat cells from getting this, which makes them like a carrier, yet they're asymptomatic. So they still have the disease within them, but they don't actually show any symptoms. There's not bats dying from coronavirus.
Right.
Bats are just carrying and spreading it. And you wouldn't be able to tell it from anything because they have this interferon which keeps them from getting sick, but the interferon is then the virus is then using this interferon as a training ground to become a more strong virus.
Right. The upshot is that rapidly replicating viruses that have evolved within bats will probably cause enhanced virulence if they jump to subsequent hosts, including humans, with immune systems that diverge from these unique to bats.
So basically, that's like, because they've run this training course, they've completed this obstacle course of bat interferons. When they come to the human population, they are going to be badasses, and they're going to run laps around any sort of immune response that we might have because of our lack of an aggressive interferon alpha or beta or gamma.
Sometimes an intermediary involved, like pigs, camels, or horses. Nonetheless, knowing how and why this happens is vital to fighting these viruses, no matter how formidable their training gleaned out inside the invulnerable bodies of bats may have made them. Excuse me. It is really important to understand the trajectory of an infection in order to be able to predict emergence and spread transmission, Brooke says. These findings are reported in eLife.
Awesome. But so what has been happening around the world that like really starts to like bring us down? Like, how do we know that this virus is attacking us? Like, are there any stories that you might have from China or other worlds?
Yes, actually, I do have a story that's located in China. ABC News video. An Australian man, Tim McLean, is quarantined in his apartment right across the road from a hospital treating coronavirus patients.
So literally a front row seat to the coronavirus apocalypse.
Absolutely. According to McLean, he says, "It's very dire here. There's queues. There's queues outside the hospital. Queues means lines. There's people dropping on the footpath, literally," McLean says in his video. The police are getting door to door and taking temperatures and dragging people out if they have a fever. You don't get a fucking say in it, McLean says.
Well, that's the totalitarian government regime. Like, chiming in. It's like, hey, you sick? No? Let me take your temperature. Oh, you have 101 temperature. Why don't you just come with us?
They go around spraying disinfectant everywhere in the city. I suspect they're spraying to keep things coming up from the sewer, says McLean. Tim McLean also says that he can't wait to get out of the city. It's terrible.
Right, and then there's like the spraying of disinfectant is just it's the last ditch effort. It's like, let's just pour bleach everywhere. We'll clean it all up. Bleach still kills everything on the planet.
Pretty much. That was a sad situation for him to be
Indeed.
in.
And adding to this misery is the plight of those without the voice. The pets of people who were trapped by quarantines all across China. This one, if you're a pet lover or pet owner, take a little caution when listening to this next part.
Animal rescue groups say they are seeing an increasing number of animals abandoned across the country. More than 2,000 people in China have died, and more than 78,000 infections have been reported in the country. I have rescued lots of dogs this month. Most have been abandoned by their owners. One volunteer from Furry Angels Haven in Wuhan, the center of the outbreak, told the BBC.
That's fucking terrible.
It really is. One animal owner has coronavirus and was sent to quarantine. Fortunately, a policeman sent her to me. The volunteer didn't want to reveal her name because of fears of official repercussion. She said she has 35 dogs and 28 cats in her apartment, in addition to the animal rescue center she helps operate.
Good God. So she's opened up her own little, like, medical center.
Basically a sanctuary.
Veterinary center, yeah. A sanctuary within her own house.
Apartment.
Which, I can't even imagine.
It's a bad situation here. We are not allowed to go outside, and I am afraid my dogs and cats will be out of food soon. I am worried if I or my family get infected with the virus, all the dogs and cats could be killed by policemen. It's expensive to rescue these animals, she said.
Well, and get food if you can't leave your house.
Exactly. Many people went to visit family in other cities, leaving food behind for their pets, thinking they would only be away for a few days. But then the lockdown was introduced. More than 60 million people in Hubei province were placed under travel restrictions. People were unable to return to their homes, and the food they had left for their pets had started to run out. Panicked pet owners use social media site Weibo to plead for help. One volunteer who gave his name as Lao Mao is part of a group that provides assistance for people who cannot access their animals. So far, this group has helped to rescue more than 1,000 pets. It's horrible.
Terrible.
It's awful. It's so sad. So many of them have starved to death. Only a few of them can reach me for help. There's nothing much I can do, but I will save as many as I can. Wow, that's an amazing person right there.
Yeah. Like, seriously, some BDE going on. And, yeah. Godspeed, young Lao Mao.
Animal Rescue Shanghai told the BBC that the situation is a nightmare. It is high seas during Chinese New Year, which means a lot of dogs are kicked out, and due to coronavirus, a lot of fights have been canceled.
That's right. It was Chinese New Year, and so a bunch of people were just gone. Because they're like, oh, we're going to go visit family. There's this thing that's happening, but it's okay because we're going to go visit some family.
We now have over 350 dogs for a play size for 120, said Nona.
Good God.
Who works at the shelter. We are really desperate.
Well, of course. I mean, like, if the facility is only meant for 120 and you have over 300... you're like stacking dogs on top of each other.
Exactly. Businesses are closed, so there is no one to feed the strays. It started being very common to see roaming cats and dogs and hear them fighting and barking and meowing much more than usual. Situation has intensified. Volunteers have joined forces like never before to handle the amount of animals in need.
Yeah, there's no kind Italian chef to offer the strays a nice plate of spaghetti.
Nope.
Sorry, tramp.
Yes, very sorry. Community support has been really heartwarming. Many people help volunteers support and share or decide to adopt or foster. Both Chinese people and foreigners have united to help each other help animals. This is a bit from change.org.
Okay.
From recently, strict orders have been issued by some Chinese local authorities ordering killing of all stray animals and pets appearing in the common area for over fears of coronavirus. This is just a tragedy.
I read about this. This was like it was it was a doctor who came on the news, and he basically said that if your pets come into contact with anybody who's contracted the coronavirus, you should put them in quarantine. And then another media outlet got a hold of that, and they said that, twisting the doctor's words, that in fact cats and dogs are able to carry the coronavirus and should be killed immediately.
That's so messed up.
I know it because it's just not true. Like, sorry, I mean, just keep going.
The World Health Organization and China's authoritative media have all confirmed and published. At present, there is no evidence that companion animals, pets such as dogs, cats, can be infected with the virus. And medical experts in China also speaking out. Some law enforcement officials totally ignored the property law and use extreme methods like burying alive and killing pets owned by the people.
Yeah, again, this is just like...
It's sick.
It's sick, but it's mass hysteria. It's like people are just like, there's this virus that's spreading, and so they're trying to do whatever they can. So on the one hand, their heart's in the right spot, but on the other hand, they're fucking burying your dog alive.
Exactly. This has caused irreparable harm and panic to most pet owners. Some pet owners are afraid of being infected so bad that they throw out their pets out of the window from the high-rise building. Are you kidding me?
No, I looked into this one, like, hoping that it was not true, but the overwhelming majority of the sites that I looked at, like, chucking your animal out the window, China, and I was able to find so many sites where people are doing this, like, literally, like, chucking their cats out the windows because they heard this bastardized version of a doctor saying that you should probably quarantine them, which then was twisted to say, oh yeah, they're the problem. And so people literally chucked their animals out the window, like at least 15 cats and 4 dogs.
The poor pets, dogs, and cats have died on the spot, also smashed by nearby cars.
Right. They chucked it and it fell onto a car in the car park below, and it made a sound that sounded like a tire exploding and broke through the sunroof, bounced off the car, landed on the ground.
They do not have anything to do with this Wuhan epidemic. These unnecessary killing orders could undermine the national effort to curb the outbreak by pulling much needed effort and resources away from the real battleground.
Just awful.
If you want to help these animals, there are sites you can go to contribute. One is Animals of Asia. Next is Friends of Nature Foundation and China Small Animals Protection. So please help donate, contribute, sign petitions, whatever you have to do to help these animals.
Yeah, because it's just a crazy story. But I heard an even crazier story.
What's that?
Coronavirus came from space.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now, in early February, articles were released that say that the virus came to Earth on a meteorite that touched down in the Jilin province near Wuhan in October of 2019. Now, when I first heard this story, I knew that I just had to jump down the rabbit hole because it was so crazy, and I was hoping for a little bit of comedy. But this professor, who, bear with me now, Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe. Yeah. He proposed his theory that the coronavirus could have possibly come from this meteoroid that exploded over the Jilin province. He's one of the foremost proponents of panspermia, which is the theory that our evolution as a species began out in the universe. That our DNA, the thing that made us, slammed into the planet, riding on a comet or a meteoroid. Goodness.
Deep breath, Gavin.
I know. It's just so it's so wackadoodle. But if this man didn't have, like, he's a Cambridge professor. He is definitely somebody who should know what the hell he's talking about. But I'm still having trouble dealing with this. But basically, theory of panspermia is that a meteoroid carrying genetic information, basically our DNA, slammed into the planet. You add a couple billion years of evolution, and then you get us. And now we've evolved to the point where we can begin to postulate our own existence. So Professor Wickramasinghe proposed that the coronavirus has come from space on that meteorite that exploded over the Jilin province in October of 2019.
Wow.
So viruses are really small. So if there was any, like, rock that survived the fall from space and the intense atmospheric pressure, which causes a lot of heat as it streaks through. That's why comets glow when they streak by the planet.
Right.
They come into contact with the atmosphere. There's a lot of heat, which creates a lot of light, and that's the little streak that you see.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, this was a big comet that came down through the atmosphere, and it exploded. But if there was any little piece of DNA within the major structure of the comet that came down and survived, then it could be responsible for the spread of the virus.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. Because they're so small, even a small speck of dust would be ripe with the virus and could infect any species on Earth. It's really crazy, very out there. I don't know if I believe it, but panspermia is one of those topics that is just ultimately fascinating. I mean, like, people believe that like octopuses came to Earth on meteorites.
Huh.
Because when we've analyzed their DNA, they have DNA that is unlike any other species on Earth. So
crazy.
Yeah. But I digress. It's just it's just one of those things that is underexplained and very hard to find solid information out, but it's a fascinating theory. But as far as viruses go, the COVID-19 is kind of a not a major player in the coronavirus family. Basically, it's a really bad flu. But there have been two other coronaviruses which you dealt with, which you've already talked about a little bit, was SARS in 2003. Now, the SARS virus, known as basically the sudden acute respiratory syndrome, was first diagnosed in 2002. The infection spread over 8,000 people, resulting in about 800 deaths. So that's like a 10% mortality rate.
Wow.
In 2013, there was another coronavirus known as MERS, which is Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. And that one had a fatality rate of 35%.
Dang.
So literally a third of people that created all that, or that contracted that virus, died as a result. So it can be argued that because of the higher mortality rate, that's why the virus didn't spread as far. Because if you don't got bodies to infect because you killed them all, you don't go very far. So that's also the basis for why we're quarantining people. Because it's like, you're more than likely to get out of quarantine, especially with this new COVID-19, because its mortality rate is less than 4%. If you get out of quarantine, you're fine. But they want to keep you in quarantine for the virulent segment of the virus's life. So basically they want to keep you on your own or away from society for a couple of weeks, just allow the disease to run its course. And if they keep you sufficiently quarantined, then you don't have to worry about affecting the other society at large. Anyway, my point is, we've been through worse. Though this new coronavirus, COVID-19, has been more widespread and has more than 100,000 cases, it's still only had a few more than 3,600 deaths. So when you look at this, when you look at it statistically, the death rate is a lot lower than most, though a lot more people are experiencing just this really bad cough or this really bad flu. But most of the deaths, again, are attributed to the most vulnerable groups in society. This is the older folk, those with pre-existing conditions that would make them more vulnerable to almost any virus. I mean, let's talk about flu, like the influenza. It's far more dangerous. According to the WHO, so far this year, so the 2019-2020 flu season, there have been 32 million cases of flu reported, at least 310,000 hospitalizations, and over 18,000 deaths. So the flu, unfortunately, is just old hat. Like, we've been talking about the flu forever. So it's not as interesting in the news. It doesn't push a lot of papers. It doesn't garner a lot of clicks. Unless it has a moniker like swine flu, which was, I believe, 2007, 2008. Or the avian flu of, I think, 2011. Fact check me on that. I'm okay with corrections, but for the flow of the narrative. Coronavirus just sounds so interesting, and with its spread around the world in exotic locales like China, Italy, Brazil, and home here in the United States, it is rife for the news and all of the worldwide social media. But the worst part is the non-virulent side effects. The fear. Stories everywhere of shortages of bottled water and toilet paper, knee-jerk reactions of a society gripped with fear. Are they worried that we'll be shitting their brains out? Or perhaps they already have. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. Because ironically, as we record this, I've been taken down by a cold.
Are you sure it's a cold, Gavin?
God, I hope so. But I also hope it added a little sexy to my voice.
Oh, yeah. It's doing it for
you. Excuse me. Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He went on Fox and Friends last week and said, for Democrats to try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope that it comes here and kills millions of people so that they could end Donald Trump's streak of winning is a new level of sickness. Just ridiculous.
Who is he talking about?
Well, he's talking about the Democrats.
As if.
Yeah. But he continued, I don't know if this is coronavirus or Trump derangement syndrome, but these people are infected badly. And it gets even worse. President Trump himself has claimed at rallies that the coronavirus is a hoax constructed by the Dems, though just days ago he listened to the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Anthony Fauci, who told him that while not the worst disease, it still requires national attention. And then Mr. Trump, President Trump, reiterated that he had sent his Vice President, Mike Pence, to allocate funding from Congress and to ask leading pharmaceutical companies for a solution. Just hysteria. But worse than that is the ugly face of racism that this and other countries try so hard to sweep under the rug. There have been numerous reports of rudeness and violence toward Asian citizens the world around, where ignorant people assume that because of their ethnicity, they must carry the purportedly apocalyptic global virus. At least the virus is colorblind. The truth is, as Roosevelt said all those years ago, there is nothing to fear but fear itself. And honestly, the best way around fear is education. But not to totally discredit the potential dangers of this virus for the vulnerable populations of society. Prevention is fairly simple. Most of us learn these prevention methods in elementary school. But the CDC has some guidelines put out, and we're going to talk about them right now.
Okay. The CDC says don't go into large groups. Stay in groups of 10 or less. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home while you are sick. Duh. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue away. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces using a regular household cleaner, spray, or wipe. Follow CDC recommendations for using a face mask. The CDC does not recommend that people who are well wear a face mask to protect themselves from respiratory diseases. So if you're not sick, don't wear a mask. Okay. Instead, it is recommended that you wear a mask if you are feeling ill. So if you're sick, then wear a mask to stop you from infecting others. Stop the use of face masks is also crucial for healthcare workers and people who are taking care of someone in close settings, at home or in a healthcare facility. And lastly, wash your hands often with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds, especially after going to the bathroom, before eating, and after blowing your nose, coughing, or sneezing. If soap and water aren't readily available, use an alcoholic-based hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Always wash hands with warm or hot water and soap if hands are visibly dirty.
Okay, let's review just to make it absolutely clear. So, avoid large groups. So, don't go out into big political rallies right now, or try and avoid larger groups that are just congregating in general. Cover your own cough, either using your cough pocket, like we've taught our children, wherein you cough into the crook of your elbow, so it covers your nose and mouth to limit the spread of the cough. Or use a tissue. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing into the tissue, then discard the tissue. If you don't feel well or experiencing any symptoms of any kind, stay home. And when you're wearing a mask, don't wear a mask just because you don't want to contract the illness. Basically, wearing a mask is just like covering your cough. So if you have the cough, or if you are experiencing symptoms, then put on a mask so that you don't, when you cough and or breathe, you don't expose the rest of the world. It stays somewhat inside your mask. If you're healthy, you don't need to wear a mask.
It just looks stupid.
It looks stupid, and it's not going to really help you in the long run. if you are a nurse or doctor, then wear a mask because you are constantly breathing in these possible virus vectors. And so when you go to your other patients, you don't want to breathe them back onto your other patients because they're already sick. That's why they're there to see you. So you keep your mask on so that you don't breathe anything else directly onto them. So the mask is really just a prophylactic of sorts and not 100% effective in the spread. And for the love of God, wash your hands properly and thoroughly. This is a 20 to 30 second process. Hot water, soap. You scrub your hands, go in between your fingers, around the thumbs, around your wrists. Like, really give your hands a good scrub. Don't miss any parts. I like to go in between my fingers, around my thumbs, around my wrists, and about a quarter of the way up my arm. This ensures that anything that I touch is not going to be infected by me, and it's going to keep the world a much cleaner place. But the most important part is that 20 to 30 seconds. So we've compiled a little list of songs that you can sing in order to keep yourself germ-free.
The happy birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
If you're Marilyn Monroe, you may only have to sing this one once. But for the rest of us, we know that oh so familiar song. And if you sing it twice in a row, it usually adds up to about 20 seconds. So don't rush through it. Sing every word deliberately to yourself. And you'll get to that 20-second mark, and your hands should be clean.
All right, next is Cher. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think I'm strong enough. No. Oh, come on, Gavin. It was good. It's really good. It was awesome.
I'm glad you stopped halfway through the chorus. But if you sing the whole chorus, again, that's a nice 20 seconds. That'll help you get your hands clean.
I'm just giving them a taste. A little teaser, so they want more.
And we don't want to get sued.
That's true. We don't want to get sued. All right, the Bee Gees, Staying Alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Whether you're a brother, whether you're a mother, I'm staying alive, staying alive. Kevin, sing it. Come on, you know it. Staying alive, staying alive. Don't kill me.
Particularly suiting to the coronavirus, you're staying alive, staying alive. Just wash your hands, you stay alive, staying alive, staying alive. Wash your hands for 20 or more seconds. Ooh.
Carl Douglas, Kung Fu Fighting. Everybody with Kung Fu Fighting. Those dudes were fast as lightning.
And it was a little bit frightening. Scrub your hands as fast as lightning.
You're freaking out the cat. He's like, what the fuck? Look at him. He's staring at you.
He's giving me the side eye. All right, what other songs? Sorry.
The Killers, Mr. Brightside.
Skip.
John Williams, The Imperial March. Dun 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 dun.
And if you're tone deaf, that's the Imperial March by John Williams. Point is, 20 seconds. We'll just keep going because we worked hard on this list and we listened to a bunch of really horrible songs, but they're catchy, and if you can hum them to yourself.
Most of that I put down are not horrible. I cut off the horrible songs.
But still, if you're catchy and you remember it, these are things that you can sing or hum to yourself.
All right, Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper, Shallow, from a movie A Star Is Born.
Right, I didn't see the movie.
I don't know the lyrics. I don't know the movie.
I have heard the song.
We did listen to the song. It was pretty.
Yes, and it was the song that ended a marriage. Just like their next song.
Smash Mouth, All Star.
That wasn't the one I was talking about.
Yeah, please wait for the songs. I'm in charge of the songs, so get it right. All right, cue it. All Star, go.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, go. Hey, all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. You stop coming in there. I could go on, but I don't want to.
All right, Gwen Stefani, Hollaback Girl. Now that's a catchy tune.
Yeah, I'd still preferred the Fiddler on the Roof, but...
Sing it, Gavin, sing it.
If I were a rich man, bitty 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 bum, all day long I'd bitty bitty bum. If I were a wealthy man, if I were a rich man, bitty 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 bum, and so on.
I love it. Prince, Raspberry Beret. Gavin, it's your favorite song.
This is my least favorite song. Why would you even say that?
Oh, because I love to irritate you so.
I know, but I love Prince, and I believe that he was a musical genius, but this one, good God, look it up, folks. It's pretty terrible, very 80s, but there is a catchy hook in it, and again, we're just trying to remind you that there are songs that you can sing to help you wash your hands. But we got a little caught up in this list.
All right, Dolly Parton, Jolene.
There we go. This was what I was talking about earlier with songs of infidelity.
All right, Toto, Africa. Sing it, Gavin.
I saw the range down in Africa. You're trying to embarrass me in front of our audience. I can't sing to save my life.
Yes, you can.
But I try. Keep my hands clean.
Belinda Carlisle, Heaven on Earth.
Ooh, baby, do you know what it's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Wash your hands and you won't worry.
Oh no, wash your hands and you won't get dirt.
Is not on me.
Wash your hands and you won't get dirt.
Yeah, but we're not talking about dirt. We're talking about fucking coronavirus. I thought I had a good one going there.
Well, in the CDC, they're like, if your hands look dirty, wash them.
Well, that's just a fucking rule for life. If your hands are dirty, wash them.
Okay. Culture Club, Karma Chameleon.
Karma chameleon. Scrub it, scrub it, scrub it, scrub it, scrub your hands and then you won't have the coronavirus. That's all I got.
All right. The next one is not a song, but you could say the intro or monologue. It is Star Trek. So either the original or the next generation.
Depending on how woke you are.
Yeah, whichever one you prefer, you can do it.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Ba 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 ba. You get the idea. All these things are just things to try and help you along. Make sure that you get your hands clean. Very important for any disease, not just the coronavirus, to be thwarted.
Okay, Gavin, I got some funny commentary for you. Just a short one.
Okay. Short and sweet.
All right. When people get the flu, they say, I feel like shit. I just want to stay in bed and do nothing. When people get the coronavirus, they say, time for a vacation. Let's go see the world. I've always wanted to go to skiing in Austria. I hear the Eiffel Tower is lovely. How about a stroll on the Camino de Santiago?
You know,
does that sound about right?
Just about. With the spread of the coronavirus, we have seen them go the world around, and it's kind of, I like that one. I really do.
Thank you. I thought you'd like a funny.
Yeah. I found my own funny. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I do, actually. I love funnies.
Okay. In an extremely unscientific survey, it was found that 38% of those surveyed refused to buy Corona beer.
Oh my god.
They believe that the lager has something to do with or is a direct cause of the spread of the coronavirus. While laughable, it's indicative of a worse, widespread pandemic that is more likely to herald the end of the world. Stupidity. I originally meant this to just be a little bit of a joke, something to toss aside, just keep the show moving, but as I keep reading this, it just makes me quite just pissed off.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. In this age of information which we live in, we've reached a point of oversaturation. There is so much information available to us with the click of a mouse or the tap of a screen on your phone. How do we sort through all the nonsense? How do we know what is truth and what is fiction? The key is critical thinking, a concept that is sorely lacking in today's world. Not trying to offend anyone, but this seems to be an inarguable fact. The answers come to us so easily that we often forget to ask where the answers came from. The ability to discern between disinformation and legitimate information that surrounds any given subject is paramount to navigating the landscape littered with so many sources of both. COVID-19 virus is decidedly a global pandemic. Its spread is definitely worthy of the state of emergency declared by both the CDC and the WHO. But, as with any such disaster, it is of the utmost importance not to lose your mind. If you're worried about COVID-19 or any other subject, use your brain. Research the investigations. Research the findings for yourself. Consider the sources from where you got the information. Dig a little deeper. Where does the root information come from? Is it an opinion or editorial, or is it a scientific study? If it's a scientific study, has it been peer-reviewed? If it is an opinion or editorial, who's the author? What are their credentials? In the case of the coronavirus, do they work in the medical profession? Do they specialize in any of the related fields? Epidemiology, virology, infectious disease. The family of coronaviruses is named such because under the microscope, specifically a transmission electron microscope, it's a spherical ball of DNA encased in a protein envelope with protein spikes, making it look like a crown. In Latin, corona. Coronavirus is named for its shape, not the disease vector. Corona beer is not responsible for the virus, nor does it have anything to do with the virus. Corona is also Spanish for crown, describing the beer as the king of beers, obviously a potshot at Budweiser. So please, people, think more critically. Don't let the talking heads forge your thoughts for you. Have your Corona with a nice slice of lime, a dash of salt, and rest assured that the golden liquid inside is not going to be your end. I'm going to step off my soapbox now because it's time to wrap this bitch up.
All right.
Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel of the coronavirus. Last Wednesday, March 4th, the first vaccine was administered at a facility in Seattle. The beginnings of human trials have started in Seattle at a Kaiser Permanente facility, the Washington Health Research Institute. Trial is slated to extend over the next 13 months, including 45 individuals between the ages of 19 and 55. This is phase 1 of the 3-phase research process required by the FDA for approval. Though there is still a lot of work to be done, it's just a glimmer of hope. It's the candle in the darkness for these oh-so-dark days. Now, history is full of plagues, and yet we have prevailed. Even lacking the nearly impenetrable immune system of bats, we still survived. Not only that, we've evolved our minds and technologies to combat the constant threats we encounter. Though a little flawed, and as much as I hate to admit it, social media and the 24-hour news cycle is sometimes helpful. While it is as efficient as spreading disinformation, it is also capable of spreading good information, allowing critical minds to dissect and analyze this type of threat in ways inconceivable to our ancestor. These diseases move fast, but like Little Mac from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, look it up, millennials. We have the heart, mind, and tenacity to defeat almost anything that comes our way. Our hearts go out to the victims whom are experiencing the virus and those who have passed. But rest assured, there's no Randall flag behind this outbreak. But the biomedical community will make its stand, and we will prevail. If I'm wrong, I'll eat a bat myself. And if that ain't a kick in the nuts, I don't know what is.
All right, everyone. Please make sure to go to Facebook and like our page, Two Nuts in the Sack. And our YouTube video, also called Two Nuts in the Sack, no spaces.
No spaces, or you'll get some weird shit.
So, thank you and good night. This is Two Nuts in the Sack, signing off.